A group called Useful Fiction has worked with organizations like the U.S. military and NATO to make information more consumable through the power of stories. Peter Singer is managing partner of Useful Fiction. He's a strategist at New America and the author of several books. Peter, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So what prompted you and your coworker to create Useful Fiction, and how does it work?
So my partner, August Cole, used to be a defense reporter for the Wall Street Journal, and I had written a number of nonfiction books on topics like cybersecurity and unmanned systems and the like. But we teamed up to write a book called Ghost Fleet that was a novel about a war with China and what it might look like. But we used the novel to share real-world lessons about everything from supply chain security to cyber issues. And along the way, that mix of novel and nonfiction turned out to be the most influential work of our careers. We were invited to share its real-world lessons everywhere from the White House to the Pentagon to the Navy. Even created a $3.6 billion ship program that had the same name as the book. And so from that, we realized there was something going on here, that you could have greater impact. You could reach more important audiences by bringing together narrative and nonfiction, by using the oldest communication technology of all, which is story.
And is there research to back that up, that this approach is more effective and more impactful?
Absolutely. And you can think about it in a couple of ways. One is the way that our own brains work. When you read a white paper, a memo, one part of your brain lights up. When you engage with that same information through a narrative, four parts of your brain light up. It's simply put, it's evolution at work. You know, we were using story to share information as far back as when we were, in caves sitting around a fire. PowerPoint, it was created in 1987. We've also experienced that in our own projects. As a great example, we did a project for the Australian military where we took a white paper. It was a 21-page report on education reform. Really important, but hard to reach a great audience. And so we took that report, we transformed it into a story, and our version of it, our useful fiction of it, reached over 15,000 readers. It was republished in one of the most popular magazines for defense officials. But most importantly, among the readers was the head of the entire Australian military and 7 US 4-stars. That's not the numbers, that's not the audience typically for a report on education, but we got them through story.
So has your team helped come up with different scenarios for wargaming?
We've done that for organizations that range from special operations in the US to the Norwegian military. One of the things that we've helped with is whether it's war games, whether it's leader conferences, there's a challenge of getting people to engage with the pre-reads. To put it bluntly, a lot of people don't do their homework before they get there. It's also hard to draw people into a world. And so what we've done is we'll work with organizers to take the important information, the kale, so to speak, of their event, and turn it into a smoothie that people are more likely to engage with, more likely to read before they get there. The other thing that we've done with war games that's been really effective is taking the results of it, what's called the after action report, the conference report, and turning that into a format that people are more likely to engage with, because war games, leader conferences, they're really valuable, but only the people in the room typically get the fruits of it. So how can you share it with others? And a great way is to turn it into engaging scenarios.
Peter, do you ever worry that your work could be useful not only to Americans, but to adversaries? I mean, could it give them ideas?
That's something that you always have to be aware of. But this goes back to that notion of a smoothie. The organizations that we work with, they're the ones that give us the nonfiction content. And then we're the ones wrapping it within that smoothie, wrapping it within that story to make it engaging. So they're the ones saying, you know what, this is the nonfiction content that we're okay getting out there. And so therefore, it isn't giving advantage to some kind of adversary. There's another part of it, though, which I think helps beyond that, is the 9/11 Commission described that one of the major challenges that was faced back then that continues today was a, quote, failure of imagination. It's the inability to look beyond today, the inability to look beyond our own perspective on an issue. And that's where framing something within a useful fiction can allow you to better prepare for the future and better avoid these kind of catastrophes. So it's not only we have a methodology that doesn't share out information to adversaries, but also it hopefully better prepares us for what they're trying to create.
And speaking of scary situations, what's one of the most frightening scenarios that you came up with?
Oh, wow. I think what was most scary was a project that we did to help Northern Command on what the next 9/11 might be. Not specifically the next terrorist attack, but the next kind of event that could be world-changing along the lines of a 9/11. And so we worked with their team where in different categories, their top cyber expert, their top bio expert, nuke expert, and from them we asked, what is something that is most important, most scary to you, but also least understood by those in the know? So what is it that policymakers need to be more aware of that they're not engaging with right now? And so they identified a certain topic area, and then we brought in a team of best-selling authors who paired up with those experts and turned each one of them into a story. So what a 9/11-like moment might look like in bioterrorism, or what it might look like in a war with China, et cetera. And I think what was, to me, most scary about all that was not just their stories, but that every one of those experts and every one of those writers connected it to social media and mis and disinformation. They weren't told to do it, but it was, whether it was a bio threat or a war with China, what scared the real world expert and the sci-fi expert the most was how it wrapped in together with misinformation.
All right, Peter, we're out of time. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any future Government Matters interviews.